Welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast, a show where we present and discuss crucial aspects of our communities, focusing on the indispensable role of small businesses. Small enterprises are not just business entities, they are the pillars of innovation, economic growth, and community bonding. Our topic of discussion today revolves around the financial well being for businesses, emphasizing the importance of robust business continuity planning, including life insurance coverage, as a part of protecting a business legacy and financial health. We are honored to have Michael Aziz join us today as the Chief Distribution Officer at Canada Protection Plan, a Forester's financial company. Michael has over 20 years of experience in financial services. His journey from a senior financial advisor to leading a team of sales, marketing, and advisor contracting licensing professionals is truly inspiring. At Canada Protection Plan, he has been instrumental in driving significant sales growth and launching major products, including an innovative critical illness product. A CFA and CFP, Michael is a graduate of York University and the University of Windsor. Join us as we delve into his expertise in financial planning and business continuity strategies. Good morning, Michael, and welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. How are you today?
Excellent. Thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited.
It's a great honor to have you with us, Michael. Michael, your journey from a senior financial advisor to becoming the Chief Distribution Officer at Canada Protection Plan is truly inspiring. With over 2 decades in financial services, and also culminating significant achievements such as driving sales growth and launching innovative products like the critical illness product. Your career path is both fascinating and enlightening. Could you share with us what initially drew you into the field of financial services and how your early experiences shape your approach to the leadership and product innovation in this industry?
Wow, it's a lot of information to share. So in university, I knew that I wanted to get into business. That was my passion. I love business. I started off in banking when I was going through university. I loved the banking aspect, so I said I want to go into banking and financial services. I ended up working as a financial advisor. I very much enjoyed that. The reason I enjoyed that, I was able to help people. It is astonishing how little our education focuses on financial planning. I'm not sure we're preparing our children, our high school students, to really prepare for how to plan for their financial future. You know, it's funny because sometimes you have in conversation, you talk to people about RSPs and they confuse, well, I've got an RSP, but where's my RSP invested? Is it in a GIC? Is it in mutual funds? Is it stocks? And now there's so many more, you got RSPs, you have TFSAs, you have RESPs, you have disability programs. There's so much information. And, I fell in love with this aspect. I fell in love with being able to help people. And, for me, financial services was the way to do it.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Today, Michael, we will delve into the critical role of business continuity planning in safeguarding the future of enterprises. Michael, can you explain the role of life insurance in a business continuity plan and why it's so important?
Yeah, it's a great question because people don't always think of, your succession plan or business continuity and insurance. Insurance often we think of as, oh, I have a mortgage. I went to the bank and the bank said, hey, I should get insurance. And I either got it at the bank or I got it from a financial advisor. So if you permit me, I'm going to take a step back and talk a little bit about the different types of insurance. Because like everything else, you say the word insurance, but there are many aspects to insurance. So I'll talk, first of all, term insurance. Term insurance plays a role in our personal and can play a role in our business. Term insurance is generally, I buy it and I have it for a fixed time. I can buy a 10-year term, which in the business we refer to as a T10, which means I'm covered for 10 years. And after those 10 years, I have often the option to renew it further, but I got those 10 years, I'm covered. Normally I have a fixed rate, so I'm going to pay X amount of dollars per month for 10 years, and it covers that amount. Now, why would I use term insurance? Generally, if I have a loan. Say, okay, I have a loan. Sometimes the bank requires me to have the insurance. If something were to happen to me as the principal or the key employee, easy. That's a good one. Now you can get T10, T20, T30. Another reason I might get term insurance, remember term is a limited period, is I'm starting off a business with another entrepreneur. Our vision is maybe 10 years, we're going to build the business, we're going to sell it. All I need is just enough insurance if something were to happen to one of us, the other one could either keep the business going or they would sell the business to me and I would pay out the family. That's often called buy-sell agreement.
Okay.
So if you and I would start a business together and we say, okay, well, if something would happen to me, do you want to work with my wife? Does my wife want to be in the business? Do my children want to be in the business? I can tell you my children don't want to be because they're too young. So what we'll do is we'll buy a buy-sell agreement. Our plan is 10 years. We want to sell the business, so 10-year term. And if something were to happen to me, the insurance would pay you for the shares. And then, the funds from the insurance proceeds would go to pay the corporation, and the corporation would pay my wife, and therefore you would now own the business and vice versa. So that's a term insurance. Then you can get into whole life or permanent insurance. That's a bit more exciting because there's a lot more you can do with that. Because here we can truly strategize and develop a plan, a long-term plan for the business. So whole life insurance usually means it's permanent. I have it forever. Now, I can have a whole life policy and pay in 10 years, or I can have a whole life policy and pay in 20 years, for example, but it is a permanent policy, lasts forever. Now, that's fantastic because there's this notional account called the capital dividend account. And if I have a permanent policy and something happens to the covered individual, if I'm a key employee or I'm the owner, something happens to me, the funds could go back in the organization. They would pay the taxes on it. And then depending on the net proceeds of insurance, it will flow through the capital dividend account and it could be forwarded to the beneficiaries or the shareholders, potentially tax-free. Now, it's a very complicated process. It's very important to make sure that you're partnering up with your accountant, your lawyer, and your financial advisor. Other insurance that you can look at is what they refer to as critical illness insurance. So critical illness insurance is fairly new. It was developed in 1983 in South Africa by Dr. Marius Bernard, I believe his name was. What's interesting is when he first launched it, it was called dreaded disease insurance.
Okay, dreaded disease insurance.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it sold that well. Can you imagine someone coming to you and saying, hey, would you like to buy some dreaded disease insurance? No, I'm good, thank you. I don't plan on getting any dreaded diseases. I don't even know what a dreaded disease is. So it was rebranded critical illness insurance. And this is a fantastic tool because what it can do, if the person covered ends up getting a critical illness, such as a heart attack, cancer, there's about 28 different conditions that can be covered. Then what happens is the funds can be paid into the corporation. And while the principal or the person who was covered maybe has to be off for 6 months getting some form of chemotherapy or because of the heart attack, the funds could help the company continue to operate. It's very important.
Right.
You might have to hire a consultant, you might have to hire a CFO, but without your main person there, those funds can help out.
Right. The company will keep continuing with its services.
Yeah. We've seen many organizations that, like, something happens to your CFO. Well, you need your CFO, but there are companies out there, what they call CFO for hire.
Right.
So the funds from the critical illness policy can pay for that CFO for hire. They can keep the business going. And then when your CFO comes back, everything goes back to normal. So we talked about term life, whole life, critical illness. There's also disability insurance. That is vital. And something that maybe not part of what we're talking about here today is what we call group insurance. You know, most large organizations or the government, you have group benefits, which cover maybe your pension benefits, and your medical covers your medicine or your chiropractic. So there's a whole aspect of group insurance. You know, an entrepreneur is truly someone who has to know everything.
Right.
And what I was going to say with that, it's important for them to partner up with the proper team.
That's very important.
Yeah, it's very important. You have to have your trusted advisor, your accountant, your lawyer, and your financial advisor. So term, perm, critical illness, and group and disability.
Right. Michael, your insight shed light on the essential role of the insurance in fortifying a business continuity plan. It's fascinating to see how it is associated with the very fabric of business resilience. Could you explain on how business owner should weave life insurance into their broader business strategies?
Like everything else, you have to engage your what's your plan, who you're going to partner up with, and entrepreneurs cannot know everything. They know their business. If you're a surgeon, may or may not be an entrepreneur, but you know your business. You know how to cut. You know how to build OHIP or however you're going to build, but you don't necessarily have all the parameters. That's why it's important to have people around you. So when you're talking about financial services and insurance, if you don't have the proper structure in place, it could cause the entity to have a shorter life. Now, we talk often about business succession. If I have a company and something were to happen to me, who is going to take over that company? Is it going to be my wife? Maybe not. And my children? Well, they're too young. Do I have any key employees that are going to take that company? And this is where the insurance comes in, because by making sure my key employees are covered, that's key person insurance. If I've got my partner in there, that's a buy and sell agreement. We can continue and ensure that the corporation can live past me. I may not live another 10 years. I may live another 40 years. Perhaps I may want to get out of the business. And this is where insurance can help me to strategize my exit, my succession, and in case of a untimely demise.
Right. And I think this is very important for entrepreneurs to think on this side as well, right?
It's vital.
Right.
I know many entrepreneurs, and I am fascinated by what they can do. They're hardworking. But sometimes you get so focused in the business,
Right.
that what they do, what they love, what their passion, that they sometimes forget some of the other aspects.
Right.
I talked about group insurance. One of the best way to retain employees is to offer good group coverage.
Right.
Especially if you're a smaller company, because you could lose your employees to large organizations that have a good group plan in place. Pays for the medicine, pays for the chiropractor, pays for the massage.
Right.
Or a pension type, either defined benefit or a defined contribution.
Right.
Although
And
defined
it's
contribution.
proven to retain employees, it is proven by many studies that you have to provide a good group insurance to your employees, right? Thank you, Michael, for emphasizing the importance of life insurance in protecting both the business and its legacy. As entrepreneurs navigate the intricate landscape of business insurance, understanding the nuances of policy types and coverage levels becomes paramount. It's a journey fraught with complexity, but essential for every business shield. What strategies should business owners employ to accurately assess their insurance needs, both in terms of policy and coverage level?
So the coverage level is an easy one. What am I protecting? If it's a loan, great. I got a $2 million loan. I probably want to get $2 million of insurance. If something were to happen to me, either the loan could be paid off, or the funds could go into the organization and they can help continue the operations. So coverage. Now, am I using whole life because I'm planning my succession plan? Determine how much do I have a lot of cash flow now? Do I need access to my capital in the future? So I'll determine how much coverage you get and what type of product. With whole life products, there are just products that give you a death benefit, for example. There are products that have very nice, generous cash values. The cash values that build up in those policies can be used to borrow against in the future, or they can actually be used to fund some sort of decumulation or retirement plan out of the corporation. The other thing you got to figure out is how the policy is going to be owned. Is it going to be individually owned, or is it going to be owned by the corporation? Normally, if it's owned by the corporation and the beneficiary is the corporation, it is not tax deductible. Now, anything I say here, you definitely have to vet it with your accountant, your lawyer, and your financial advisor.
That's very important.
Yes. So I'm going to put that caveat there. But depending on because it's very important how you structure things, and depends what your time frame is. I may have a vision of owning the company for the rest of my life, but I could end up in a different situation where I get an offer to sell it, Well, if I sell the policy, if I sell the company and the policies are in there, how do I take it out with minimal tax implication? It's got to be an impact. So what's your long-term strategy? And then it can also get complicated if I have an opco and a holdco. Where do I hold life insurance policy? So I'm going to take a step back here. I'm going to tell you, it is vital to work with a financial advisor that has experience in this field, because not every advisor has the level of knowledge to work corporate owned insurance, because corporate owned can be very different than individual or personal owned insurance.
Right. I think this type of awareness is very, very important for most of the small business owners and entrepreneurs. That's a compelling overview of strategizing for the right insurance coverage, Michael. Your expertise, demystifies the process, making it more approachable. Now, considering the prevalence of misconceptions in this area, like what are some that business owners often encounter, and how should they address them?
Misconceptions around insurance, there are many. I think the first one that every study that goes out about the biggest misconception in insurance is it's expensive. I'll be honest with you, it's probably never been cheaper to buy term life insurance. It is very, very well priced these days. In fact, the organization that I worked for, on the 23rd of January, we announced a premium reduction in all our term plans. So, price. My recommendation is talk to your advisor, get a few quotes. You will be pleasantly surprised how reasonable it is.
I will share my experience here with my uncle with you. Like, before having insurance for my own company and my employees, like this was my thought, like misconception. Oh, it might be very expensive.
Yep.
It might, but when I started exploring the options, like I was surprised, like what are the benefits and what is the price? I was literally surprised with this.
And the other misconception is people just think of insurance is I buy insurance and I die. That's what they think. And then they gets paid out. Insurance, you can be extremely creative with, especially with the whole life products that have cash values, which you can borrow against, either from the company or from bank. You can use as collateral. There's universal life policies where you can invest a portion of your premium into the stock market or mutual funds, mostly mutual funds. And they're a little riskier, just like the market is versus with the whole life product, but you can generate returns in that policy and actually fund a retirement through them. Price. Creativity is a misconception. I think sometimes also people don't understand. They think, I have car insurance, life insurance is the same thing. Yes, they're both insurance, but they're very different aspects of insurance. I'm going to keep going back. Find an advisor you trust. Talk to your colleagues. Do they have a good advisor that they've worked with? Get a referral from them. You'll be surprised at what they can do. And I'll throw in one little comment. There are, I know advisors that focus on a specific segment in the market. They focus on dentists or doctors, physicians. Now, when you're working with that kind of advisor, they understand how a medical corp works. They understand the limitations of a medical corp. They can help you structure with your accountant and your lawyer ways of either withdrawing money efficiently from the corporation, making sure that the funds go to the next generation efficiently, or the best way for you to draw income out of that corporation.
That's right. Michael, like your insights into selecting suitable insurance options provide clarity and guidance for many small business owners navigating these crucial decisions. The growth of a business brings about a dynamic shift in its needs, especially concerning insurance. Recognizing and adapting to these changes is crucial for sustained protection and growth. How can business owners leverage various steps of insurance depending on their business growth cycle?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. When they're in the growth cycle, you got to ask yourself, do we have a lot of capital? Do we have money? So in the growth cycle, the first thing you're going to cover probably is your loan, because you want to make sure if something happens, the company can continue to operate and the banks get their money. Now, by the way, you can also, how you structure that policy could impact the benefits of life insurance policy. So if it's corporately owned and the bank is the beneficiary, then the funds will go to the bank, or the bank is it owns the policy. Now that can work for you because it's great. The bank gets their money, but there are other ways of structuring it so that the funds stay in the corporation, and then they can help you operate till you find a new person to take over, a new president, new CFO, a new key employee. So loan insurance, very important. Key person insurance. Often when the company's in that growth phase, there's 1, 2, or 3 people that are critical. If you're chief engineer, something happens to that person, what's your organization going to do? You don't just create another dynamic chief engineer, come over and take over. So you're going to need some time to get the company going. So you're going to generally buy term insurance because you don't have a lot of capital during that growth phase. Once you get into where you're a bit more stable and you're starting to plan the next generation, this is where a permanent policy is with the cash values. This is where a critical illness policy on your key employee. This is where you're going to do a buy-sell agreement because you may be thinking, I'm probably going to get out of the business. I know my kids don't want to get in the business. I know you as my partner probably want to own the entire business, or you definitely focus. Well, we're going to do a buy-sell agreement. Once again, you can use term, you can use perm, and a critical illness is actually a fantastic solution as well during that sort of maturity phase and growth phase.
Right. Your perspective on aligning insurance strategies with the business growth cycle is invaluable, Michael. It highlights the importance of being proactive and adaptable. Could you share some some signs that indicate when a business should reevaluate its insurance coverage to ensure it remains aligned with its growth trajectory?
So financial advisors, I'm a certified financial planner and a chartered financial analyst. We recommend that the advisor reach out to their clients once a year and a half to review their portfolio. This is where the conversation is going to happen, and those conversations trigger ideas. Now, you may be going through a fantastic growth phase. You've paid off the bank loan. You may not need that term insurance, but you may no longer be insurable because you've had something happen in your life. Maybe a heart attack, maybe some other health condition. So there might be an option to convert that term policy. So don't just think, okay, well, we paid off the bank loan. We don't need that coverage. There's a value in that policy, as many companies allow you to convert it without insurability or medical insurability into a whole life policy. So, and then, of course, you may have more key employees. Do I need to add a critical illness in those policies? Do I need to enhance my group benefits to retain those employees? Do I need to have some form of retirement plan for those key employees? This is what happens when you have that conversation once a year with financial advisor, with your accountant.
Right. Your advice, Michael, on adapting insurance strategies to different stages of business growth is invaluable for ensuring long-term security and success. The narrative of succession planning often becomes more tangible when illustrated through real-life experiences. These stories not only enlighten but also resonate, offering profound lessons for business leaders. Michael, could you share your personal anecdote about the importance of preparing and communicating a business succession plan?
Succession planning is no different than, talking to your parents about their will. I believe there was a statistic out there that said like 50% of Canadians don't have wills or powers of attorneys. I can't remember
50%.
I can't remember that exact statistic, but you know what it is? People generally don't want to talk about it. It's a tough conversation. What's going to happen when you're gone? And by the way, as far as I know, as of today, one day we're all going to be gone.
That's the fact.
That's a fact. Right. So we should be planning, but it's still, we know we should. We know we should have a will. There's options, but they're difficult decisions, difficult conversations to have. And I think that the succession planning is difficult. Sometimes the founders believe their children want to get in the business, and then they realize as they start to get closer to retirement, and they say, well, it's time, you finish university, time for you to take over. No, mom and dad, I'm not interested in the business. I'm more passionate about racing cars, whatever the passion is about. So I've seen this I've seen several occasions where the conversation wasn't had. There was an assumption. And in one case, the son, in this case here, he was going to take over his father's business. What he found out, though, is the son wasn't well liked or respected by the employees. And as the son took a more active role in the business, because they had that conversation, I'm going to take over, the father noticed a lot of key employees started to leave. And then he realized the key employees respected the founder. They did not respect the son, especially the way he came in. So it's important to have those conversations. And it's important to understand the limitations of that second generation or the succession.
Right. Thanks for sharing those, Michael. Your personal experiences in the critical nature of succession planning and its impact on a business future. It's a powerful reminder of the stakes involved. And from your experience, what are the key takeaway that other business owners can learn to avoid similar pitfalls?
Make sure you know who's taking over. Make sure your key employees are in. Make sure you have some sort of key person policy that is vital to make sure that it protects the company. And if the next generation isn't going to take over the business, do you have the people in place? Do they have the funding necessary to buy the business from you if you're willing to sell those shares? Have the conversations. Don't wait till you're 1, 2, 3 years away from retirement.
That's very, very important conversation, right?
Very important conversation. And I would tell you, I've heard people that have very successful companies, they actually get together once a year in a formal meeting session and they have those discussions. And sometimes they have their advisors there with them so that they can keep the conversation focused and professional. Because that's it. Sometimes when you're dealing with families, it can get personal.
That's right.
So have the conversation, be aware. Have the plan. You plan for your company, plan so that your company exists for the next 100 years.
Yeah, that's right. Innovation and progress are the hallmarks of a forward-thinking company. Staying abreast of a recent accomplishment and product development gives us a window into a company's direction and priorities. Michael, can you tell us about Canada Protection Plan's recent accomplishments and new initiatives we have launched?
Absolutely. So Canada Protection Plan is a Foresters financial company. Foresters has been in the Canadian market now the company's about 150 years old. We're celebrating our 150th year in 2024.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah, they've done some great things. And what I love about working in Canada Protection Plan Foresters is we're community focused. We exist to serve our community. And when you buy a life insurance policy or critical illness policy with us, whether it's through Canada Protection Plan or Foresters, you get access to these wonderful member benefits, like scholarship and orphan scholarships and the ability to do good in your community with what we call our Foresters Care Grant. I recommend go check out our website, foresters.ca or canadapotectionplan.ca, cpp.ca, and see what you can do, the difference you can make by being a Forester member. Now, if you look at Canada Protection Plan Foresters, we were the innovator in that hard to insure market space. So if someone's had a cancer, diabetes, heart attack, they may have trouble getting traditional insurance. Canada Protection Plan was, I would say, one of the pioneers in this space and made it possible so that all Canadians can get some form of coverage. I believe up to age 75. After 75 to 80 can be a little bit more challenging.
Right. Your efforts to make life insurance more accessible and affordable are commendable. How do these developments resonate with your mission and what impact do you foresee on your clients?
Our mission is to help Canadians. Foresters Canada and Canada Protection Plan is to help Canadians to make sure that Canadians get the coverage they deserve. I think that is a noble mission and one that is in line with my values. We write claims checks every day. And I have not had the pleasure of delivering a claim check myself, but I work with many advisors when they're delivering that check to the family to say, don't worry, your mortgage can get paid off. Don't worry, your children can go to college or university. Don't worry, you won't have to get 3 jobs to continue to make payments. Because it's a very hard time. When you lose a loved one, it's a very difficult time. The last thing you want to think of, what's next? And I feel what we do in our industry is like very few industries where we can truly make a difference in people's lives.
Thank you. After our deep dive into business continuity, insurance strategies, and succession planning, it's clear these, elements are pivotal for the longevity and resilience of any enterprise. For our listeners, many of whom are entrepreneurs and business leaders themselves, navigating these waters can be seem daunting. Michael, based on your extensive experience and the insights you have shared today, what single piece of advice would you offer to our listeners to help them prioritize, take actionable, steps towards securing their business future?
Surround yourself with good people that think differently than you do, and they will make sure, one, they keep you focused, they keep you honest, they keep you aware of what's going on in the industry. So the people around you make a difference. I can look at my old previous employers when I worked for smaller, more entrepreneurial companies. One of their greatest skills was identifying people that they knew could make a difference and had different skill set than they did. So to me, the team is everything. The team is vital.
Thank you so much. Okay, Michael, before we wrap up, is there anything that you would like to share with our audience?
If I could leave you a parting thought, we talked about team being vital, and I think partnering up with the right financial advisor who has the experience to help you in your business navigate all these opportunities in financial services will ensure your success and will ensure success of your operations in the future.
Thank you so much, Michael, for sharing your experiences, sharing your thoughts with your audience, with our audience today. It was a great pleasure hosting you.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As we conclude our conversation with Michael Aziz, we are reminded of the critical role of financial planning and insurance in securing the future of small businesses. Understanding the importance of selecting the appropriate insurance coverage is crucial for safeguarding your business amount. Remember, it's not just about having right insurance, but having the right type and amount. The key takeaway is to evaluate your business specific risk and needs thoroughly. Stay informed, seek professional advice, and review your policies regularly to ensure they align with your evolving business landscape. This strategic approach to insurance will not only protect your venture but also provide peace of mind as you focus on growing your business. A special thanks to our partners, exclusive banking partner RBC, exclusive shipping partner UPS, and exclusive accounting software partner Zero. Don't forget to subscribe to Canadian SME Small Business Magazine for more inspiring content and visit CanadianSME.ca for more information. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to bringing you more engaging and informative episodes in the future.